Alright, welcome back to another Redstone tutorial. Today we're taking on the double wide sea pickle farm. This thing's gonna produce so many pickles in just 5 minutes. I don't even know what it does in an hour, because you'll probably never need that many pickles, but if you do, this is the farm for you. So let's jump in. Okay, and to get started, I laid out a spot that is 14 wide by 7 deep. That's roughly how big our farm's gonna be. There's gonna be a little pieces that hang over, but no big deal. So what we're gonna do is start by making a square all the way around and see if I can do this without too many mistakes. Fill it in back here, and you should have something that roughly looks like this. Next, you're gonna flood the whole bottom of this. So you might need to get an infinite water source near you, so this is easier. It's a lot easier and creative, but there you go. There is the first layer. Next, we're going to take out our pistons. We're going to stick 2 facing this direction and 2 facing the same direction, just with 1 gap in the middle. We'll put a block there. Over here, we're going to do the exact same thing, a block in the middle, 2 pistons, another 2 pistons there, and then run a line of stone along the front and the back here. Okay, now with this, we're going to come in 3 from the side. So 1, 2, 3. Over here, come in 1, 2, 3. Get any kind of coral block. It doesn't matter. I'll do yellow for this one. We'll put 1 each there. Get another block here and put it in there. So roughly this layer is going to look like that until we add the rest of the block all the way along here. Now the reason we put the water underneath is so when we're installing all of this that it doesn't die. You want to make sure it's touching water. Now there will be water above, but the reason I do it this way is that if we ever need to repair anything on this and take the water out, that all of our coral won't die. So that's it. That's our nice little 2-layer box that gets us roughly what we need. Okay, this next layer, you can kind of decide if you want to do it with either blocks or with glass, but at least this part needs to be blocks that we're going to put along there. Going to come over here, starting at the top of the piston, running it all the way along. Now over here, you can either do glass or you can continue to do bricks. We're going to do glass, so I'm going to run glass all the way along here. I really just do this so that I can see what's going on in the farm. And then we're also going to do a line across the back. And again, this is just so that I can kind of see what's going on. Okay, and now we're going to do the next layer up. Now we're still going to do some stuff in here, so we'll pause that for just a second. But coming up a layer, now what we're going to want to do is actually break out a few of these, because we're going to need room for it to go back and forth with these pistons. So we're actually going to put a line of glass right along here, a line of glass along here, and then put another line up 1 level there and 1 level here. So that's going to help us contain kind of the water, and you'll see that here in just a minute. Next, we're going to actually wrap up our redstone that's going to come in here. So run along a line along here so that we get kind of that shape. And then we're going to need to be putting in some dispensers. So we're going to run out 3 blocks from here, 3 blocks from here, get out that dispenser. Now this part's kind of tricky because you have to get it to look down. So this might be one of those things that you might need to break out a few, get it in, and then place it back in. We'll do the same thing over here. So you can decide when you want to do that, how you want to do it. Even using a trapdoor would work there, but that'll easily get those pointed down. And I'll show you here in a minute. We're going to put the sea pickles here, and those will work better once we get the water in and have it running. But that is that layer. Okay, now for this next piece, I got out some dirt. What we're going to have to do, and this gets a little tricky, is direct the water so it flows correctly. So this is why I didn't have you put, or I had you put the water underneath, is we want to make sure that coral doesn't die while we do this step. So what we're going to do is, because this gets in the way of flushing out the water, we need to help the water move around it. So when we put the dirt in like this, as we put the water along here on the back where the glass is, you can see that it pushes it out the front. Now when we break these, it'll come out and spill over the edge. And what I should have done is put a ring so that we could put this, but that's okay, we'll do it right now before we go too far. You can get yourself some gates. I'll get one here. And I always just like to run these along there because they won't interact with the items. You can just open them all up and they'll stop the water. So once we have this going, you can see that it's no longer going to be spilling over the edge and ruining potentially whatever you have under there. All right, now that we have that all pretty much contained, you can see all the water's flowing pretty much to the edge. That'll get everything going. So now you're going to want to dig out all that dirt that we used as a placeholder to keep that water. Now, if you do these steps backwards and you put the water down here first and then put water back there, it's just going to spill over one and it'll never flow to the edge. So that's the little bit tricky part, but that's why I kind of explained it that way, so that we can get all of this water running first. Then we can come back in, we can flood this. And it's going to be a little hard to see, but just make sure you're going about every other block, putting a bucket in across one side and across the bottom. Now, you'll be able to tell pretty quickly if you flooded it correctly once we get this running, because the sea pickles won't float up and then come over. So that'll help you know that you need to go in and flood it a little bit more. Great. Next, we're going to get out our redstone. This part gets pretty simple. We're just going to run all the way down along here, up along the edge, out to almost the dispenser. You don't need to go on top of the dispenser. You're going to run it out along here, and then between the two. And so you should have something that roughly looks like this. Okay, next we're going to get out an observer. This observer is going to go in the corner here, looking down. And we're going to have one that's looking up. Now that might be a little tough, so you might have to dig down one block. We're going to get them so that they're one block apart. And then we just got out a sticky piston, which we're going to make sure is facing upwards. Put a block next to that. Put a lever either on the side or on top. Get it going. You'll see that that is now blinking. So when we put a redstone dust on top, it'll start shifting that floor, and it's making the dispenser shoot out. Great, I'm going to turn that off for just a second, because we're going to get out some bone meal. Okay, and with that bone meal out, now we're just going to put a bunch of it inside of here. You can fill up however much bone meal you have. I'm going to put a full thing in here just so we can kind of see. Now we can test it and see if it's working. Okay, so as you can see, it's going to produce pickles pretty quick. So we're just going to let that run here for a second. Turn it off. Let those all float up. And they're going to come right out. Now, let's see how many we got. I'm going to completely clear my inventory here. And see how many in just that little bit we got. Oh wow, over 4 stacks in just that little bit of time. And I don't think we really used that much bone meal. Nope, not too much at all. So as you can see, this is going to produce so many sea pickles for you. If you ever need to do more bone meal in here, you can either just keep doing that, or come in, grab a hopper, put that hopper on top of both of these. You could run a line of hoppers, a line of water across that, however you want to feed it. But as you can see, you're going to get a lot of pickles, so I don't know how often you'll actually have to fill this up. And that is how easy one of these dual sea pickle farms can be. Now, there's a lot of resources you might have to gather, but you really just need 2 pickles, some redstone, a bunch of stone, and glass. And you can get this going and get lots of sea pickles. So let me know down in the comments, where do you like to use sea pickles? Do you use them for your underwater builds? Do you use them for other types of lighting? Definitely let me know down in the comments. And until next time, we'll talk to you soon.